after an insane and dramatic Thursday night win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, Travis Hunter is an absolute unicorn in college football. Can he be in the NFL? Well, I have an idea how it can work. Your latest Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB, and the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, you need to join in. You need to be one of them. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. If you win your first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Cleveland Browns coming off a big Thursday night victory against Pittsburgh Steelers. Certainly, something I described if they could get the win was going to be that it was going to, calm the masses. And look, for a lot of Browns fans, you're agitated and aggravated right now with the way the season has gone. That is certainly understandable. This is Thursday night is hopefully something that's going to hopefully get you all to stick around for the next 6 weeks. At Denver Monday night, at Pittsburgh, home for the Chiefs, at the Bengals, home for Miami, and closing it off week 18 in Baltimore against the Ravens. Practice today, Cedric Tillman in the concussion protocol, not practicing. Jeff Swaim still in the concussion protocol, not practicing. I would rather see Whitehart play anyway. I'm not going to lie to you. I would rather develop a young guy as opposed to, moving, a veteran in, 6 games to go. You might as well develop the youth. Jordan Akins did not practice today. Not exactly sure what the reasoning there is. Of course, no reason was given yet for Jordan Akins as to why he was not practicing today. I do believe there's one other here. Let me get to it real quick. And Jedrick Wills. Jed Wills, the knee, it's still not where it needs to be. This is something that is so far from over. I don't think anybody wants to hear about Jedrick Wills anymore. Look, there's 6 games on his contract. Both parties are going to move in another direction. You'd wonder if Jedrick Wills would be really looking to align himself back to Bill Callahan if Bill stays in Tennessee. It just, the reports on this and just, having everybody get aggravated, just play Jermaine Urfidi at this point. Again, this isn't a young guy that you're developing. Unfortunately, these were all supposed to be reps that were going to go to DeJuan Jones. But the whole Jedrick Wills experience is over. And look, there's a lot of confusion in regards to Jedrick Wills. Look, some of the backlash he gets certainly warranted, no question about it. He's not a bust. People need to learn what the definition of some things are. He's not a bust. He's never been a bust. A bust is out of your building in a season and a half, and 2 years, whatever. He's played significant amount of time through his 5 years on his rookie contract. Was he ever great? Not really. Was he a guy that went out there every day and gave it everything he had? I guess if you go by give everything you had, right? That creates a little bit of an issue, of course. Was drafted as a right tackle, was asked to play left. The transition never sunk. But, I think we're all in agreement that, the sooner, Jedrick Wills is no longer with the Cleveland Browns, I think everybody, will be, better off for it, certainly. No updates on Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. It does seem odd that the only thing we know is he's got a neck injury. I mean, when guys get hurt in the NFL, say a guy breaks a rib, they give us what number rib it is. Or if it's a toe, they tell us whether it's his big toe, his pinky toe, is one of his So it gives you some pause and hesitation where they just say it's a neck injury and no updates. So I've obviously thoughts, with JOK, about to begin his contract extension money in 2025. And certainly a vital player on the field for the team, and certainly a vital leader for this Cleveland Browns unit. The trip to Denver is always interesting. Bo Nix started slow, certainly did, but man, as Bo Nix picked it up, and he is in such a rhythm right now. There's been, some ebbs and flows for this rookie quarterback class. But it seems certain that Bo Nix has hit his hit his high water mark, and he's continuing to stay there. There was talk about flexing this game out of Monday night. I think keeping it on Monday night is probably a testament to where the Denver Broncos are right now. And, maybe, they deserve to have their rookie signal caller shown in a big spotlight. Not necessarily that the Browns should be in this Monday night game, but I think this is more a testament to how the Denver Broncos have been playing up until this point. Browns should go in for the most part. It looks healthy, I guess, by what we went through today. Hopefully he gets Cedric Tillman back. Otherwise, there's an opportunity there, certainly for Thrash or for Woods or, for some other young receiver. Maybe it is even, Kadarius Toney, who knows? But you really not want to have to see Cedric sit at this point. He actually had a great game last year in Denver against the Broncos, playing with DTR, and he's been on such a nice run lately. The last thing you want is to have the kid to shut it down for a little bit. So, hopefully you can get Cedric Tillman there. Jerry Jeudy, obviously this will be an interesting one for him. He goes back to where he began his career. Certainly at this point right now, he is playing the best football of his career. There will be a monster opponent on Monday night in Pat Surtain Jr. that, Jerry Jeudy will probably be looking forward to that matchup. It'll certainly be a great measuring stick for the Browns young receivers as far as where they are going against a cornerback like him. So these are all things, we're all going to get into during the week here. We got a fun one we're going to go with here, in segment 2 that I want to get to because, I think Travis Hunter is an incredible talent, and what he does at the collegiate level is insane. The question is there any way can he bring that type of element to the NFL, being a two-way player? Well, I've got a home for him and a place where I think it could really, really work. So we're going to talk about that as we continue here on your latest Locked On Browns. Appreciate everybody for being along for the ride. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Knowledge is key. History, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution. Did you study these things in school? Did you really study them? Probably not. Or even if you did, maybe it's time for a refresher. You are a much different human being than you were when you were in school. Time and technology have changed a lot of things, but they have not changed basic fundamental truths about the world and our place in it. Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. Look, you, through your work, through maybe the fact that you are now married and have a family, or you've just changed as you've matured, you may want to relearn some of the stuff you learned because you may view it differently now. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever you want and tune in whenever you want. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or you can just sit back and enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There is no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less than at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. I told you guys, primetime games, love it. Thanksgiving, I'll have lineups going in every single game. When there's not that many games on at the same time, you can just sit back, enjoy the one that's on, and it's certainly fun to have a little action. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to get the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Do you think on Thanksgiving that somebody from the Detroit Lions is going to get more than 75 yards receiving? Maybe it's Amon St. Brown. If you do think that, go ahead and bet it. This week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at the football board and selecting Thanksgiving free square. Tyreek Hill only needs to receive a half a receiving yard for the projection to hit. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you would win real cash. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. At the time of this recording, and the way it looks for the draft, the Browns would currently hold the 8th selection. I am Jeff Lloyd, your host here at Locked On Browns. We appreciate you all for making the show your first listen every single day. Become an everydayer. Come every day. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, in my opinion, the most exciting player, the most talented player in all of college football right now is Travis Hunter, the cornerback / wide receiver from the University of Colorado. Now, he is an absolute unicorn because there's been guys who have played the college game and played, on both sides of the ball. Certainly in the past, Charles Woodson, Champ Bailey. There has never been anybody that's essentially been a full-time player on both sides of the ball. And with Hunter with over 1,000 yards receiving, Hunter with dominant skills at the cornerback position, you wonder how all this works towards the NFL. And you wonder how he is viewed by the NFL. Well, my honest belief is if I am going to draft Travis Hunter, and I would in a heartbeat draft him for the Cleveland Browns, is I want a way that I can get the best of both worlds of Travis Hunter. Now, as time goes on in the NFL and you start talking and getting near maybe a second contract in the NFL, it may be different then. But on his rookie contract, and if I am a team that has a pretty good wide receiver room, if I am a team like the Cleveland Browns who have a really good number one corner, their 2 and 3s are having a rough year this year, but your 2 and your 3 are most likely going to be with you in 2025. I think Travis Hunter is in a golden spot with the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns could draft Travis Hunter and could use him on offense and on defense. Maybe by 2026, as soon as 2026, maybe you'd have to make a decision when you have looming contract questions about Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome. Maybe at that point you make the switch, and you maybe just make him a one-time player, or you don't, and you ride out the rookie contract with him doing a little bit of everything. But you are getting a guy that can fill 2 rooms. Yes, it does come with some consequences. If he were to get injured, you are missing a wide receiver and a cornerback, all in one guy. Understood. You can't bring in 2 just to replace Travis Hunter because he may be a guy that plays 2 positions. But the electricity that he brings you in the passing game, he just knows how to find the open spot. He can make the electric catch. You see the type of acceleration he had on the jailbreak screen Saturday at Kansas rather. And it doesn't even look like he hit full speed. And his feet are so quick and just smoothly glided and was gone. His skills on defense, he's a lockdown corner. He is really smart. He's got a nose for the ball. The thing that just makes Travis Hunter so special is by playing these two positions, certainly, which would go hand in hand, is as great as a corner as he is what makes him a great wide receiver. As great as a wide receiver as he is what makes him that good as a corner. Look, we are in the day and age in the NFL where there is a lot of rotation, especially between your skill guys. Guys sit. Guys used to never sit. So to say, okay, well, he would have played 60 snaps this week on defense for the Cleveland Browns. Okay. Well, why can't I cut those right down the middle and have him play 30 on offense and have him play 30 on defense? I don't see the reason with that. Again, eventually, you're going to have a conversation about this as far as a long-term contract. But I've got 4 to 5 years of control of this guy before I have to work on that contract extension. I think it would be a shame to make him commit to one position because either one, he's going to have a solid NFL career. He is certainly a good enough receiver to have a solid NFL career. He is certainly a good enough corner to have a solid NFL career. He is being, tutored, mentored by Deion Sanders. And whatever you think of Deion Sanders, if there is one guy who can understand what it is like to be superior, a superior talent at two positions, it's Deion Sanders. He had an 800-yard receiving season in the NFL. He was also a professional baseball player. So if there's anyone that is perfect to walk Travis Hunter through all this, it is Deion Sanders, whether you like him or not. He is one of the few people that Hunter can speak to and get basically real feedback from. I don't know how it's going to work for the Browns in the draft. Yeah, obviously, still too early to tell with 6 games to go. I know everybody's going to respond to this about quarterbacks because I put a tweet out about this the other night, and that's exactly what happened. Well, if you're drafting 8th, you're probably not getting Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. And this draft class is really, really questionable beyond those two, in my opinion. Travis Hunter's versatility may allow him to drop in this draft because there may be teams that say, I don't know exactly what to do with him, and I don't want to make the wrong choice and look like an idiot. What I'm saying is, if the Cleveland Browns are smart, you draft Travis Hunter and you continue to let Travis Hunter do what Travis Hunter does. It may be at a little bit of a smaller sample size because you don't want to know anybody playing 125 reps in an NFL game, but you want him to be great on offense and great on defense. The Cleveland Browns could be the team to do just that. We continue here, your latest Locked On Browns. Appreciate everybody for being along for the ride. Thanksgiving Day games. Parlay them, bet them singularly. You can do it and enjoy the action all day long. And certainly at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Continue on here, your latest Lockdown Browns. Browns back at practice today. Cedric Tillman out with the concussion. Jeff Swaim out with the concussion. Jedrick Wills, the knee is still being balky. And Jordan Akins not practicing today, undisclosed to this point. No medical update on JOK. Your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate you all for making Lockdown Browns your first listen every single day. Go to the YouTube page, subscribe to the Lockdown Browns podcast, become an everydayer, and you will not be disappointed. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. There's a lot of talk now about what the Cleveland Browns should do at the quarterback position going forward. Certainly with the way Jameis Winston has played, it's certainly exasperated the belief that all of us have had for a while, and the Browns had to play this hand, is that it's just not a viable option to do anything more with Deshaun Watson. Now, Jameis, I will say right now, I would like to re-sign Jameis, and I don't know what the rest of the plan is. Are you drafting a quarterback, or are you bringing in another quarterback through free agency or possibly trade? Jameis Winston in your locker room is just good for business. It's just a smart move. He's a passionate guy. He loves the sport. He loves his teammates. He's, at times, a good quarterback. At times, he can be crazy inaccurate and frustrating. There's no doubt about it. But there really hasn't been an extended run for Jameis Winston at the quarterback position in a while now. The Browns are going to get to see that and continue to see that for the next 6 weeks. Right now, he's 2-2. Yes, that Saints victory looks, the loss to the Saints looks bad, but I don't know how much of that he put on Jameis. Threw for 400. That was on your defense. Beat the Baltimore Ravens. Beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chargers are a pretty good football team. So, with a good defense, had Jameis's number that day. So, I would like to bring Jameis Winston back just because he is Jameis Winston, and all of the, the positives before I even get him onto the field, the locker room positives, the sideline positives, the way he handles things, the way he treats his teammates. So, and you look at, Sam Darnold is certainly going to be mentioned, and that's going to be such a strange situation. It almost feels like Sam Darnold would return to Minnesota on a 1-year deal, with the thought process of, they hope that J.J. McCarthy probably beats him out. It's crazy. Daniel Jones, maybe, not the way I want to go. But the question is, are you bringing in somebody that can essentially compete with Jameis Winston? Maybe take Jameis Winston's job. We don't know on DTR, obviously. And, I'm almost kind of starting to feel bad for DTR. I think the situation is, really put him in a bad spot, is where he's just, it would have been okay if it was Deshaun who just kept playing in the last 2 years, and DTR never got to see the field. But with it being Joe Flacco and others last year, and certainly Jameis was part of the plan this year, and Jameis this year, we have no idea what DTR could be in this league. But it's going to take some work here. And, the Browns are certainly going to have to do their due diligence. Could it be, finding somebody, a lot of this also comes down to whether or not, Ken Dorsey's coming back. If Ken Dorsey's not coming back, that creates a whole bunch of issues as well. But you look at what the Browns could do, or what they could bring in to, compete with Jameis Winston, compete at this quarterback position for this team. Certainly draft as possible, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward with your first round pick, I guess would make sense. I don't think the Browns are going to have the opportunity to draft either one. Then you get into like the Jackson Darts of the world. So, if it's Jameis for 25, that's the way we'll take it. That's the way we'll play it. I'm more than okay with it. I would just like somebody in here, someone else as well, whether it is a young guy. It's not that I wouldn't want it to be DTR. It's just that none of us have any way of knowing where DTR is right now with his game. He's barely played this year. When he did play a little bit as a rookie, there were a couple of shining moments, and then, injuries, and season was over for him then. So certainly, the quarterback position for the Browns is a highly, one that can be spoken on. Million ways to go about this, million ways to handle this room going further in, 2025. But I think it's, everybody's to all of the understanding that what was the worst trade in sports history needs to be shunned and sent away. And nobody needs any more reminders of it. And everybody knows it happened. Nobody's foolish enough to think that it did not happen, but there is nobody that should think this is something that should continue. It did not work. It never worked. It severely hamstrung your organization for a few seasons. This team needs to move on with Jameis Winston and company in 2025. Just exactly who that company is to be determined, but it can certainly lead to a lot of fun talking points along the line. So we told you Browns back to practice. I think Travis Hunter, if you like what Travis Hunter does on Saturdays, I think the Cleveland Browns are the perfect fit for Travis Hunter to do that on Sundays. And we will probably talk about the Browns quarterback room for 2025 every day between now and probably late April in 2025. It's just the way it's going to be, kids. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd is a bunch of filthy animals, but they're my filthy animals. Become a filthy animal. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go Browns.